Mario Kart is one of my favorite video game series made by Nintendo. While I didn't grow up with most of the old ones, most of my fondest memories come from the GameCube version. And those who know me well are aware of how much I love Mario Kart 8. It's probably my most played game of all time if I were to seriously think about it. So when Mario Kart Tour was announced long ago, I had mixed feelings about it. While I was disappointed that a Switch exclusive installment to the series was unlikely, the idea of a mobile version sounded promising. But things started to get worrisome after the release of a demo version. The game itself was average at best. And of course, since this game was free to play, it pretty much confirmed that microtransactions would be a thing. If only we knew how bad it would be. Because trust me, it's bad. I could make a whole video on this if I wanted to, but I'm sure this issue has already been addressed by many others, whether it be YouTubers or consumers. Instead, I'd like to focus on another problem that I find concerning. It does have to do with microtransactions, and that will be much clearer later on in the video. As I previously stated, there was a demo for the game available to a limited amount of players, and this raised concerns for a number of reasons. Yeah, obviously some of it was about the gameplay itself. However, something that people noticed quickly was how the races weren't with other people, but CPUs. I actually forgot about this until after the full game released, and even then, I fooled myself into thinking that I was playing online with other players. This is because before each race, you are greeted with this screen where other players join the lobby, with their own usernames and cart loadouts. But just like the demo version, this is not multiplayer even though the game tries its hardest to fool you. This becomes transparent when you take a closer look at the game itself. Lobbies will always fill up suspiciously fast, and you'll find yourself starting in first place like 90% of the time. If you skip the opening cinematic of whatever track you're playing on, the race will start right away, when if you were online, this would have a very low chance of happening. The race would only start counting down once everyone had watched the opening cutscene for obvious reasons. Plus, the quote-unquote connection when playing is suspiciously flawless. I commended Nintendo for having good online play, until I realized that this was obviously a single-player mode. Plus, the race ends whenever you cross the finish line. Seriously, how did I not notice this right away? Oh, right, because each bot has a legitimate username beside it. It's kind of funny when you think about it. The fact that Nintendo seems almost desperate in making people think they are in a race with other players instead of CPUs. Going this far makes it look as if Nintendo is trying to accomplish something by faking online. And yes, I am aware that they are supposedly adding a proper multiplayer in some future update. My question is, if they were planning to add it in a separate mode, then why trick people to begin with? I'm sure that online will be completely separate from the tour cups you do in single player, and when they do implement it, I have a feeling they won't bother changing these bots' names to CPUs 1 to 7. Is it to trick people into thinking they have a good online service? I don't think that's the reason. And this all begs the question, why does Nintendo pretend to have multiplayer in Mario Kart Tour? We first need to understand exactly how Mario Kart Tour gets its money. All of the prices shown are in Canadian dollars. The first is a monthly subscription service, giving players access to 200cc, along with extra gifts upon racing in tours. Gold challenges are also unlocked that are the same as regular challenges, except you are rewarded with gold badges. All this for $6.49. But remember that this is a monthly subscription. Doing the math shows us that this is more expensive than having Nintendo Switch Online for a year. Just remember the part about the gold badges for later on. The second form of payment is through these special offers. As you can see, this one includes 45 rubies, Mario, and 5 star tickets for the insane price of $27.99. But the one that really gets to me is this list of rubies you can buy. These prices are, to put it lightly, crazy. And this doesn't guarantee that you'll get much value from it, because you are using currency to buy currency to use in what is essentially a loot box. If someone showed me this image prior to Mario Kart Tour's release and told me this was Nintendo, I wouldn't have believed them. The thing you'll learn rather quickly about Mario Kart Tour is that how well you do in a race doesn't necessarily count. It's about how many points you can get. Of course, you do get a bonus for ending in a good position, but you can perform poorly and still quote-unquote win. I literally got 5th in a race and ended with enough points to get all of the grand stars. And as of writing this part of the script, I've reached a point where it feels impossible to get enough points for all 5 stars. Some tracks require over 10,000 points, so unless you got the right characters and carts, then good luck. All of this needs to be said in the video because the points you get from each race are more important than overall performance. And tracks will have certain characters and carts that are better to use because of extra perks in the race itself. And this is how Nintendo takes advantage of the consumer. You only start with one character, and to get more you either rely on the loot box system or purchase the current one in the shop with coins. Or, you know, just steal your parents' credit card and waste hundreds of dollars to get Mario. It's the only Mario Kart game where you have to spend money to play as Mario. This in itself is a terrible system, and it's what all of us feared. But I digress. This video is about the motives of Nintendo quote-unquote faking their multiplayer. I think I know why they are purposefully doing this. Right before every race, you get to see a list of all the quote-unquote players and their cart combinations. But what sticks out to me is the right side. If a user has selected a badge for display, this is where it would be shown. You'll have the normal ones that will commonly pop up, but from time to time you may come across a gold badge. But the game is designed so that, unless you sign up for Nintendo's subscription service, obtaining this through normal gameplay is impossible. There's also the chance that one of these individuals will have a character or cart you've been dying to get. Technically, it's possible to unlock these yourself, but it's faster to just use your money or purchase a whole bunch of rubies. And if these rare characters belong to the same users who display gold badges, then it will give the player a sense of feeling behind in the game compared to those who, to put it lightly, pay to win. Especially since, as we've already established, the game is all about points over performance. This all stems from the main problem with these freemium games, and is why they can make so much profit off of the consumer. There was an article made back in July of 2016 listing the top 10 highest grossing mobile games. Candy Crush was at number 4, and this was how much it made. Now, that's a lot of money, but here's the thing. This is the average amount it makes not in a month, but a single day. One could argue that this pales in comparison to the loot boxes in games, having a customer pay for the chance to get their money's worth. Luckily, there has been action against this act. Just look at Star Wars Battlefront 2. The backlash caused EA to remove the loot boxes, and while there still are microtransactions, they are limited to cosmetic purchases. But this all creates a problem that Mario Kart Tour faces. It's one thing to compete against players who make use of these microtransactions, but it's completely different when you are playing against CPUs who make use of these premium features, because that incentive to buy all of the best gear and features goes away almost instantly. There is no value to these special characters or gold badges the other players bought, because they were never bought to begin with. Once you come to that realization, there's no need to feel pressured into buying that stack of rubies with your hard-earned cash, because it's not like it will make you the best player in this game. You're the only player in this game. Where's the pride in senselessly beating 7 bots when you can just race against real people in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe? This flaw in the system is damaging for a freemium game such as this. Nobody is going to pay to race in tours against CPUs. And that's exactly why Nintendo found another solution. If they were to somehow fake online, from the gamer's perspective, there would be sudden value to the products that were being sold. Yes, we've already gone through loads of evidence that blatantly prove this is just single player, but what about the average kids that play games like this? Do you think most of them would know this wasn't real multiplayer? Yes, there is a small button that tells you online will eventually come, but even I missed that as it doesn't stand out. No. What little Jimmy is going to see is that this player called CoolBro69 has a bunch of neat stuff that he doesn't have, and will use their parents' credit card to purchase whatever they want, because to them, CoolBro69 is an actual person. That is something else I should quickly address. It's not like Nintendo is using a username generator to come up with these fake players or anything. From what I've heard, all they're doing is attaching real players and their loadouts to bots. So it's not Nintendo who is making those few offensive names, it's players. And while one could argue that this gives value to the badges beside players, because they are signed up for this subscription service, it's not really true, since again, what we compete against in the races are CPUs. It's incredibly dishonest on their part for doing this in an attempt to get more money. I did sign up for the subscription service for the sake of having this video properly researched. Before people flip out about how I'm only promoting this act by spending money, they do have a 2-week free trial period before charging you. Just as a warning, feel free to also do this, but know that it requires your credit card information, meaning that if you forgot to cancel before the trial period ends, you'll automatically be charged on a monthly basis. I already canceled mine, so I don't have to worry about this. So here's my theory as to why they didn't just wait to launch the game when online was finished. Perhaps it still wasn't ready, but they really wanted to push this game out for September. It's possible that they didn't want this to interfere with Luigi's Mansion 3 sales or something, as that game is releasing at the end of October. Or they did it so they could take advantage of that game and have a Luigi/Gooigi promo in the game. If you notice, there is no Luigi in the game yet, but he does appear on the booting screen of the app. The problem is, they knew that the game would be most popular for its first couple of weeks, and that they'll lose profit if it's clear that the game has no online as of release. As we've already discussed in the video, they decide to fake the multiplayer for now. At this point, it's less to get money and more so to get as many people on the subscription service as possible. And to do that, they add a 2-week trial period, but they make sure to charge players as soon as this window ends. I'm thinking that they may update the game with online play just before this free trial ends. That way, it will take people's minds off the thought of canceling the service. And after that, most of the income will be off of this monthly payment, including those that forgot to cancel the free trial. These are my thoughts. It's funny because reading those last couple of paragraphs make me sound like some sort of crazy conspiracy theory guy who is overthinking this whole predicament, and that there is no way Nintendo thought this far, and that is exactly how I would have felt a few months ago. There are going to be some people that counter this video with, "There's no way they would do that." And my response is, that's exactly what I thought about their stance on microtransactions before the game released. But all I have to do is look back at that chart of rubies and it makes the statements in this video less absurd. I love Nintendo. I really do. But this is, in my opinion, Nintendo at their lowest and greediest. This game had so much potential, and honestly, for a mobile experience, it's not terrible when you look at the gameplay portion. But unless there are changes, I'm not sure how to feel about their future in mobile games. It's going to make lots of money, that much is clear. All I know is, if a Zelda mobile game comes out, I better not have to pay for the Master Sword. Thank you all for watching this video. It's very different compared to what I usually upload, but this felt like a topic that I had to address. Feel free to let me know if you disagree, and tell me what your favorite Mario Kart game is and why. Let's get some positivity in here to lift up our spirits after Nintendo's questionable decisions. Special thanks to all my patrons. Your continued support is very much appreciated. Links to all the Twitters and Discords are down below. And if you'll excuse me, I have to go cleanse my soul with some Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. At least I don't have to pay to play as Mario.